happening, guys? Welcome back to another Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon Wi-Fi battle. Today, I have a really good underused match here against Ian from Twitter. I have been having some fun with his UU team, and I figured I'd give it another try. So, looking at my opponent's team, I notice I am going to be really afraid of the Hydreigon. If that thing's Choice Scarf, it can definitely do a lot to my team, so I got to work around that. But then looking at some other threats like the Serperior, I do have a Choice Scarf Nidoking on my team that can handle that, so I've got to save that thing. But other than that, he has a pretty solid team, so let's go ahead and just jump right into the battle. Alright, so from looking at the team preview, I'm expecting him to probably want to lead with either Cobalion or Azelf, so I'm going to toss out my Manectric here just because I know that I'll be faster than both and I'll be able to get a Volt Switch. So he turns out to lead off with Azelf, and as I'm sitting here thinking about it, I know that if he leads Azelf, he's probably just going to go for Stealth Rock, so I decide to actually just go ahead and Mega Evolve and then just go right for a Thunderbolt, trying to get some damage. I knew that it would be an easy 2-hit KO, but he actually surprises me, and he's going to end up switching into the Hydreigon here. So Tripod Dragon is going to take a decent chunk of damage from this Thunderbolts, and I do actually have Hidden Power Ice on this Manectric, but it's only able to do, I think, like 50% to this thing, so I go for the Thunderbolts. I know that Hidden Power Ice isn't going to be enough. Also, I don't want to go for Volt Switch, because if he brings that in against Manectric, it tells me he's probably just going to be Choice Scarf, so I feel comfortable switching into my Heracross here, as he ends up just going right for the Dark Pulse. And I don't see any Life Orb recoil. So that tells me this thing is choiced in some type of way, and seeing that damage, it's probably just Scarf. I didn't see enough to be choice spec. So he does not have a whole lot that wants to switch into a close combat from my purple ass Heracross over here. So I do get rewarded for that. He's going to go ahead and switch into the Incineroar. Even after the Intimidate, I am able to knock that thing out because Heracross is just a freaking beast. With that Life Orb, this thing is, it hits really hard. It just doesn't have the speed to be able to really keep up and underused, to be honest. But yeah, so I get that Moxie boost. I'm looking pretty solid, as he is going to bring right back in the Dragon, and now he gets to choose a different move. I assume he has Flamethrower or Fire Blast, so I do want to save my Heracross for later. It might come in handy, and I'm just going to go ahead and switch right into Tentacruel. So the reason for that is I know that he's not going to go for Earth Power against Heracross, so I can safely bring this thing in to see what he locks himself into, and he decides to just go for the Dragon Pulse. So I eat that up completely because Tentacruel is just specially defensive as titties, and that's really nice. So I predict a switch here. I kind of want to get a knockoff on whatever he wants to bring in. Really hoped it wasn't going to be Cobalion, but of course Cobalion does come in here. It is going to activate that Justified, which gives him a +1 in attack. And that pretty much means that Tentacruel wants nothing to do with this matchup. I do want to save Squidward because I notice he has that Serperior on his team, so I do really want to keep this guy in the back pocket for that thing. So here, I'm going to hard switch into Seismitoad. The reason for that is that I know that even after the +1, I should be able to take at least 2 close combats from this thing. It will be close, but I know Seismitoad, he's way too bulky for that. So he sets up some Stealth Rock there first turn. Now he goes for the close combat. It does just over half. And that's actually kind of scary, so I'm super glad that he ended up going for that Stealth Rock before. So this turn, I actually expected him to probably switch out, knowing that I can hit him pretty hard with Earthquake. I just wanted to get my rocks up, but he ends up staying in. And after the leftovers, it is going to put me decently over half. So he doesn't want to roll the dice and see if the close combat is going to do the trick. He can just switch right into the Hydreigon here, which he does, and he's going to dodge that Earthquake. So that's a good switch there. This freaking Dragon is just giving me so much trouble, though. It's extremely hard to switch into, but since it's Choice Scarf, I know that it has to lock itself into one move, so I do have some options, like switching into Heracross like that first time. I know that I can take like a Dark Pulse and Earth Power with that, but I decided to go into Tentacruel here, basically just to kind of see what he's going to go for. It turns out he goes for the U-turn, and that is super bad for me, because now he gets a matchup against Tentacruel, and he gets to tuck that thing back in the old pocket. So he decides to go into the Azelf here, and there's really not much that I can do at this point. I don't have anything that can switch into a Psychic. I could go into Durant, but then again, he probably just has Flamethrower, and he'd be able to knock that thing out after I lived in attack. So I do have to let Tentacruel go down there. That U-turn was pretty obvious, but I kind of made the simple play and just went into Tentacruel, hoping that he went for like a Dark Pulse. But that's fine, because this now allows me to bring in Manectric, and honestly, Manectric freaking shines in this match. Probably one of my favorite Megas at the moment. So I go for the Thunderbolt here, and I do actually expect this thing to die. Azelf is super frail, but it actually ends up living it with like 3 HP, but unfortunately for him, I do get the Para, and he does get fully paralyzed the first turn, so that is really a bummer. I think this thing was probably Focus Sash, since I didn't see an item. I assume it's probably Sash. You don't generally see specs too often, so one more Thunderbolt is going to take care of that, and I did get some help from that Hacks there, so now he's going to bring in the Serperior, and unfortunately I did lose my Tentacruel, so I am going to go ahead and Volt Switch here. I didn't think that Overheat would be able to knock this thing out at full health, so I do want to conserve my Manectric. That thing is looking the most useful on my team. And here I'm going to go into my Nidoking. So my thought process here is that he won't be able to kill me with one Leaf Storm, and then he knows that if I bring in Nidoking against this matchup, he's going to expect me to be Choice Scarf and be able to easily outspeed. So I predict the switch into his Tentacruel, expecting me to go for Sludge Wave. But he actually just stays in, and he takes that Earth Power with like no damage, and then he finishes me off with a Leaf Storm. So that was kind of, it was a high risk, high reward type of situation there. Unfortunately, I do lose my Nidoking, which is a bummer. But I do still have things to take care of, pretty much whatever Nidoking was going to be able to do. Manectric kind of does it better. So now I'm going to bring in Manectric here. Since this thing has lost some health, I know that Overheat obviously will knock this thing out. So Manectric came to this battle to do two things: chew bubblegum and kick ass. And he's all out of bubblegum. So an Overheat is going to knock that thing out. And we are just out here taking names with the pointy dog. So now he gets a free matchup. He decides to go into the Cobalion here just because he knows with that special attack drop, I'm definitely not going to be able to knock it out with Overheat. So I do have to get out here. I'm going to go for the old Volt Switch. I do actually get a decent chunk of damage. And then now I can go ahead and bring in my Seismitoad again. I wasn't really expecting to be able to take two close combats, but I kind of just didn't really have anything else to switch into. So he punches me right in the old head boob warts, and that, you know, that hurts quite a bit. So unfortunately, one more of those is going to take me out. Leftovers is not going to be quite enough. But this Cobalion isn't too much of a threat because I do still have Manectric with the Overheat. So one more is going to knock me out. Down goes Seismitoad, but you did your job, buddy. I actually really do enjoy this thing. I haven't used Seismitoad in forever, and lately it seems like this thing's just been the damn MVP. So now I can go right back into Manectric, and we are ready to kick some more ass. We're both some pointy boys, but I end up being pointier as I intimidate him. Doesn't really matter too much, and I just decide to go for the Volt Switch here in case he wants to switch out. I do actually end up getting the kill with that anyway. I kind of didn't expect that to kill, to be honest. That Cobalion is going to, unfortunately for him, go down. And at this point, I'm just going to bring in your boy Kevin Durant, who hasn't got to do much yet. But as you'll see here, Durant is actually pretty damn amazing. So he's going to bring in the Hydreigon. I know that he does have the capability to go for like a Flamethrower, but I also know that's pretty obvious that I'm going to switch. So I just stay in and go for an X-Scissor as he ends up going for the U-turn. I know that he does have the Tentacruel on his team, which does take resisted damage from everything I have, but I am choice banded with the Hustle ability, and this thing hits extremely hard. So I go for the X-Scissor on that thing, and it is going to do over half, which means that even after the Black Sludge, I should be able to pick up the knockout, and big things come in small packages as Durant is an absolute beast that is going to take care of the Tentacruel, and it's amazing to see this thing, you know, do something. It's actually, you know, Durant is really fast, and if you don't get misses with the Hustle, it's super useful. So now he goes into the Hydreigon one last time, as it's his last Pokemon. He goes for the Dark Pulse. He's going to lock himself into that because that is going to be able to take care of Durant, and he told me after that he actually only had Fire Blast as his last move slot. So now I can bring in Manectric. I kind of just want to see and make sure this thing's Scarf. I don't really have much of a reason to just go into Heracross yet, but I do go for that. He's going to end up outspeeding. A Dark Pulse is going to kill me, but luckily he is locked into Dark Pulse. So it's looking like as long as Heracross doesn't get super critted and then flinched, we might be able to do it. So the Purpless boy in all the land comes out, ready to suck on some sweet honey, and thankfully he did lock himself into Dark Pulse, which is not going to be able to knock me out here, and at close combats is going to punch all three of those faces, and that's going to be the end of the match. So he could have locked himself into Fire Blast there, that last little section there. It would have been 3 turns he would have had to land Fire Blast, but I think it probably would have been worth it to give it a try. Odds are he probably would have missed at least one of them, so he probably wouldn't have been able to finish it off. But he also told me he thought that I did still have Tentacruel, and that's why he didn't want to go for Fire Blast, so he wasn't keeping track enough. But either way, I thought that was still a really good match, and it's been a fun team to use. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hit that like button if you enjoyed, and don't forget to subscribe for some more Wi-Fi battles. Peace out.